Number of amazing reports that can help you get to the bottom of the details that happen within your organization. Today, we're going to focus on our print PDF report, which is one of two different reports that Simple Out has that will help you generate a file you can take with you that has your status update information within it. In this case, of course, this report is generated as a PDF report, which is great for either digitally distributing it throughout your team, or it's great for taking to an actual physical printer. And so this report generates a file that we can take with us that can have up to 6 months worth of data across your entire organization, all with one single click. It's pretty great. So let's take a look at some of the options here and let's run some reports. So first thing you'll need to decide, of course, is when you want to run this report. In this case, you can see it defaults to the last full week. But in this case, I'll make it 2 weeks just so we have a little bit more data to look at. The next thing is what data or what stuff would you like in the report? As you can see, we have a summary and a detail. And you can have both summary and details in your PDF report, or you can have just the summaries or just the details. In this case, we'll keep it at both so we can see what's going on. You can also choose how your data is grouped, whether it's grouped by users or it's grouped by date. And then, of course, like almost all of our reports, you can filter to only run it for some particular users. So for example, maybe I only want to run this across our managers group. That'll only run for 4 users then. Let's go ahead and click Run Report. Now you'll note when I click Run Report, the report will be generating. Again, because you can generate such a large report, this will take a little bit of time to do. Once we've generated this report for you, underneath of it, you'll see when it expires. We'll keep it for a period of about 3 days so that you can have access to this report after the fact. That way, just in case you forget it or you destroyed it and you want to go see it again real quick, you don't have to necessarily wait to see the report generated again. Let's go ahead and click Download this report to see what this report looks like. So here we have a report, and you'll note that our report is, first of all, I have the user of the picture. This is the summary view. And the summary view has your weekly totals over here. In this case, I ran it for 2 weeks and combined total over the period. And then, of course, we can see nice calendar presentations. In this case, the first day of my report was in June, and then the rest of my report ran in July. We can see little tiny X's in the days where there was no activity that was worth counting. And then we can count the individual days that the user was available. And we put a little tiny rounded to the nearest 10th decimal place number here, just visually, again, as a summary. Now, beyond the summary, we have detailed views as well. So here's George Franklin's detailed views. And we can see here that he had no status updates on that Sunday here. But then on Monday, we can see every one of his status updates, what status he was in, comments he left behind, what time they were created, etc. All of this great detailed information for you to view. Now, once I scroll through George's detailed information, we'll get to Mark Leonard, the next user in the list, and we get to see his information as well. So as you can see, this report will end up generating a lot of pages all in a single click. In this case, 16 pages in this report so that you can see all of this information. Now let's go back to our report and take a look at some more options. So we saw what summary and details looks like, but let's go ahead and just grab details for the purposes of this so I can display to you what this will look like if we sort details by date. I'll leave this managers on as well, and let's run and generate another report. Now, for those of you who've seen the activity report, and there's an entirely separate video on activity reports, you'll see that this report will look a lot more like that. This is just a chronological list of activity in your organization. You'll see the users are interdispersed amongst each other, but this is sorted by date. And so you can always see this sorted by date, the applications, whether or not another administrator made this update on the user's behalf, like in this case, Anthony Morris updated Samantha Jensen's status for her, etc. So this is another great use of our print PDF report. Now let's go and look at a few advanced options that we allow for as well. So here you can see advanced options. We will allow you to, in detail view here, you could customize what the last 2 columns look like. So right now we were looking at the application the user utilized and a change by admin, but you can see that you also have some other information like automatic, like was the status update occurred automatically via one of our automatic updating features, or did the user take an action to perform the status update? We also allow you to choose time zone because, of course, time zone is important. It will default to the time zone you're in, but if you're traveling, you can run it in the time zone you would expect. Now, in the summary view, we also have some additional advanced options you can utilize. So, for example, totaling these statuses. By default, when we calculate that aggregate time for you in the summaries, we're going to count any time a user was in or remote or busy are all going to be calculated into that time number. But if you choose to want to include breaks, or maybe you're counting things like vacation time, you could change these as well. So for example, running a report like this will calculate the total amount of minutes that a user was in a vacation status. Likewise, we have only these comments are considered, and this allows you to zero in on a specific comment. So for example, maybe you're only curious about the time users were working from home. Well, by default, maybe they use the remote status when they're working from home. And then you can go ahead and run this where you say, I only want to aggregate time when they were in the remote status with a comment that included the word home. And this allows you to drill deep into that information. So that's the Print PDF report, a great way to get a lot of wonderfully presented data out of your system all quickly with only a single click.